Hello everyone. Myself Amit Sope, and I'm core committee member of the ML Forum VIIT. Today we will be looking at the topics of. I hope I am audible and my screen is visible.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. First, I will go through some theory regarding the OpenCV, which is required, I think so, uh, for this thresholding and edge detection, thresholding and template match. So first, I will look into theory first, then I will move on to the hands-on part. So I will cover these topics today. Common things about the images, what are the pixel values of the images, how the pixels are stored in the computer, how image is stored in the computer and it is stored in the form of the matrix. Then image segmentation, then thresholding and template matching. Thresholding is nothing but it is the part of the segmentation itself. Then I will be giving you a rough idea about how the images are means represented graphically, how we can represent it graphically. Then we will look into the thresholding parts, that is the simple thresholding and two more adaptive and OTSUs. Then last is the template matching. So first, I hope that you can see the tree image here, which is nothing but it is the image which is stored in the computer itself, and it is nothing but it is the binary representation of the visual information such as photographs, pictures. So basically, now you are seeing the image here in the 2D format, but actually the computer stores this image in the 3D format. Means there are channels. There are three channels. That is the RGB. When we go into hands-on part, the image is basically first store. It is in the form of the BGR. We prefer to use the RGB, so I convert it from BGR to RGB. So basically, here pixel values are there for this is the image. I will show it in the paint itself. I hope the image is visible of our Albert Einstein. Yeah. Hello.
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Yeah. So this is the image of the Albert Einstein. So I will just explain you what are the pixels here. So basically, these images means if I zoom it, each of this part is made up of the pixel values. Means there are if I make here a circle, this circle will contain lots of the pixel values in that part. So basically, I want to tell you that. Yeah. So yes, I want to tell you that the next part here shows the same itself, that what I was telling now, that this is the image of the this is the image. Basically, it contains the all the pixel values, and each pixel values is basically it is the square part, and each of the pixel values have a value of 0 to 255. Means 256 values are there for each pixel value. So basically, what there is, we can see that each pixel there is one pixel value for each here square, and yes, if the pixel value and a zero pixel value depicts the black pixel, as well as the 255 value for a pixel depicts the white. So basically, this is the RGB format, and if you want that the color to be white, then you can specify RGB format as 255, 255, and 255. And next for black, it is we can specify the pixel values for RGB as 000. So yes, this was all about the images, and yes, so you can also calculate the image size by this data. That is, the single point in an image represents a pixel, and one pixel has a size of 1 byte. Yes, I will not confuse you much further in the color images. Uh, these are some of the means, basic functions that for drawing the shapes in the OpenCV. This is the IM read, with the help of which we are able to read the image from our computer. This is the IM read. IM write means this will basically store save the image whatever you have processed in the format you specify here. So these are some of the shape functions. That is the line. You can draw a line on an image. Basically, it contains the image on which you want to draw the line, as well as the starting points, ending points. This is the tuple where the you will specify this tuple like x and y coordinates of that values, means pixel values basically. So yes. This is the color. This is also the tuple RGB value, and this is the thickness. Similarly, the circle, and you can draw a circle with the help of this function in the OpenCV. Like this is the image on which you want to draw the circle. Center of the XY coordinates are the pixel values, and the radius will be the radius in pixels. Yeah, and then color and thickness. Same goes for the rectangle starting vertex. For rectangle, it comes like this. That I hope the whiteboard is visible here.
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Yeah. So for the rectangle, for drawing a rectangle on an image, this is needed in the template matching. So I am telling this. So here for the rectangle, what you are going to take is that this corner of the image, that is the top left corner, and the top bottom right corner. And this makes the means this is the pixel values of the top left corner plus the width, and the pixel values of the top left corner plus the height. Then it will make the rectangle on that particular image. So yeah, this was all about the drawing a rectangle on an image. So moving on to the further, you can also put the text on the image with the help of OpenCV using the put text function. So these are some of the image manipulation techniques that we do nowadays in our mobile itself. That we make the image of the size bigger, then smaller with the help of the resizing. Then age detection is also image manipulation technique. Yeah, is there any doubt here? Yes. No. Okay. So yes, age detection is also one of the image manipulation techniques. Then sharpening is also there. Then some of the blurring methods are there. Gaussian blur, median blur, blur, bilateral filter is also there, and cropping of the images. Affine and non-affine transformation and perspective transformation is also another part. Yeah. Uh, what is the affine and non-affine transformation thing? In the affine transformation, there is scaling, rotation of the images. You can scale the image to double the size of the original image. You can reduce the size of the image to half of its original size. This can be done with the help of the affine transformation. Means the whatever the parallel edges of the images are there, that will remain parallel. That will not be distorted. So similarly, non-affine transformation is there, in which the distortion takes place of the images. Means the parallel sides of the images are disturbed, and the best example of this is perspective transformation. Perspective transformation is nothing but I hope that everyone is using the cam scanner. It is banned. It is not banned, but it came again after it has gone from the Play Store. Now it is there. We use that app similarly. So Cam Scanner uses this technique only. That is the perspective transformation. Means if you scan a image, then it will basically detect the edges of that images, and it will transform it to a means format that you want. That is something but the perspective transformation. Camera angles are different. You can make it better to you can make it parallel so that you are able to use that document and scan that document. So this was all about the affine and non-affine transformation, and blurring. This technique will be more clear to you in the next session, that is the CNN. Blurring involves the convolution operation, filtering out the pixel values so that you get the smooth images and you can able to detect the edges. Blurring is needed for the edge detection, that will be covered in the edge detection. Then image segmentation is yes. Before going on to the thresholding, image segmentation is also one part, that is which groups the pixel values, connected pixel values. You can see here the image is that you can see that the hand has been pixel values has been detected, that is 0. This pixel values is 255, and this pixel values for the black are 0. So these are segmented into the regions. So basically, the segmentation is done into regions, into linear structures, and into 2D shapes. You will be more clear with this regions and straight lines. So regions and straight lines are this is how the image segmentation is done using it is showing the regions, as well as this is for the straight lines. There are some of the applications of the image segmentations, that identifying the objects in a scene for object-based measurements such as size and shape, then also a moving scene for object-based video compression, identifying the objects which are at different distances from a sensor using depth measurements. Yeah, I also done a project on this in the first year. That is the Newton rings experiment. There depth sensing is required. So yeah, this is the next part. So now I will just move on to the hands-on part for telling you some of the basics of the that images. So yes, hello. I hope that Jupyter notebook is visible to everyone. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yes. For this um, yeah, for this age detection, thresholding, and template matching, you will require some of the libraries like pandas. You will require pandas, then NumPy, and as well as the OpenSea. Okay. So first, I will be importing. I will importing this libraries here firstly. So I will import pandas first, SPD. Then I will import NumPys also. Then I will import this OpenCV. What? OpenCV2. Okay. So yes, what I wanted to tell is here now I will read a image from my local computer base. I will read any of these images. Let's say I will read this tree image. Let's say so. Yeah, I will just copy the location of this image, and I will read this image here. Yeah. It's basically, I think so. It is JPG format. Yeah, this JPG file. Okay. Yes, it is JPG file. So it is JPG file. Yeah. Now what I will do is I will show this image. I think it is clear in the it was clear in the previous session. And destroy all window. Okay, so it will read the image, I think. So yes, this is the image. I read. So I wanted to tell you some of the means how this image is stored here. So yes, I will show you how the image is stored here. Image name is image. You can see that this is the color image, and so it is stored in the 3D, three channels. Means each of these has three channels. That is, it is basically here BGR, not RGB. It is BGR. So each B has the first pixel value in the image contains the B, that is 23. The value of that pixel is 23. Next is 9, and then 13. For one pixel there are three channels. That is BGR. So this is how the image is stored here. And you can also give the width and height of the image. This is nothing but the height of the image. This is width of the image, and three means three channels are present in that. You can directly convert this image now. Yes, for performing the operations in the OpenCV, you need to convert it to grayscale, because this color images has lots of the information. It is more complex to perform. Some functions in the OpenCV doesn't even work with this color pattern, so we need to convert it to grayscale. And there are two methods. You can use the CVT color, as well as the you can directly use this technique. Means you can specify 0 here, and the image will be directly converted to the grayscale image. So you can see that the image is converted to the grayscale image. And yes, it is preferable to use this grayscale patterns. Yeah. So next is, you can yes, this is width and height of the images. If I print these values now, yeah, so it is not a 3D array, it is 2D array. Means each of these it does not contain three channels, contains the channels as these only. Means there is one first pixel line values has these pixel values here. So yes, this was all about the images that I wanted to tell. You can also change the pixel values if you want, but that will be hectic. For loop will go on executing that code. So yes, I had also shown how to means here. Yeah. Yes. So now this is the image I had taken here. So the pixel here, this graph, this is nothing but the histogram, which is showing that this image has this is on the horizontal x-axis. It is nothing but the pixel values. Pixel values are ranging from 0 to 255. So it shows 0 to 255 range, and these are nothing but the frequencies of that pixel values. So yes, the highest 0 to 250 has the highest number of the pixel values, frequencies of the pixel values. So this is what all about the histogram. So yes, so now moving on to the next means part, that is the thresholding. I hope that there are no questions, or are there any questions? No questions. Okay. I hope I am audible.
Yes, yes, you are.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, I will not waste much time here for drawing this. Yeah, I will show you how to plot the histogram for an image. Albert. And let's see. Yeah, so this images is here. Now I will plot the histogram. So Ravel function is nothing but it is the reshaping functions. You can also specify reshape -1 so that the we whatever the array we get, it is in the flatten format, means 1D format. Yeah. So this is the means histogram of this image, that is the Albert Einstein image. So yes. Next, I will be going on to the simple thresholding part. So thresholding here, it is thresholding in simple words. I will say that it will find a threshold value, and it will set whatever the threshold values are below, whatever the values of the pixels are below the threshold, it will set to zero. And the values not zero, but there are methods in the simple thresholding. And set to zero, as well as the values which are higher than the threshold, it will set to the maximum value. This is nothing but the thresholding. Means thresholding, it is used to separate, basically in the simple thresholding, what it is done, that whatever the sorry, so whatever the values, means foreground and background, this is separated, background images and whatever the object we need to extract from this image. For this purpose the thresholding is used. Then next, yeah, simple thresholding. uh, yeah, it says that for every pixel the same threshold value is applied, and if the pixel value is smaller than the threshold value, then it is set to zero, otherwise it is set to maximum value. These are some of the threshold types we will be seeing in the hands-on part now. So gray.png, yes, so this is the image I will be working upon for the simple thresholding. Converted to grayscale basically. So this is the original image. Next, I will be doing the binary thresholding now. Binary thresholding means thresh underscore binary. This method I will be using here now. I will write the threshold one is CV2 dot threshold method is used here. Yeah, here it is given that threshold method. First, you will have to specify the input image. Then you will have to specify the threshold which you want. Then threshold value which you want. Maximum value is nothing but it is 255 in this in this. And threshold type means this is one of the type of the threshold. Yeah. So using that, image is our image. Yeah, I will change the name of the image to simple image. Simple image. Yes. Yes. V2 image is simple image. Then threshold value I will be giving it 127. Then this is the maximum value 255. And next is the method that you want to specify. CVT dot thresh. Thresh, these are the methods available. So I will first use the thresh binary, and then I will show this image. Thresh one. Thresh. Yes. This is the original image. Yeah, okay. This is the error. I will now have to solve the error now. Wait a minute. Yeah, input image, threshold value, max value, and the threshold type. Thresh one, I think so. What is the error here? We need to specify thresh binary simple image, and it is simple image. Oh yeah, okay. Here, yeah, here it must we must specify the value, return value. Return value is nothing but the threshold that we had set here. It must run now. I think so. Yeah. So this is the image for the thresh binary. What it had done is here. Well, I will make it. Yeah. Okay, it is great now. I hope that there are no questions. What all R represents R. What all information do we get from this histogram? Okay. So basically, information means we want the spread of the pixels in the image. How much the variance, how much the data or the pixel values are spread. If the pixel values are too much spread, then it is not of much importance. That we want the pixel values to be grouped in the two. That is the for the foreground and the background. This is the concept for the OSUs. We want that pixel values should be in such a way that we can extract the object as well as object from that image. This is the main reason. Yeah, I hope that I am audible. Yeah. Application of the thresholding and histogram. Applications of thresholding and histogram. Thresholding applications. It is yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah. I hope I'm audible. I guess.
Yes, yes, you are.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next thing is the just the reverse of this. Yeah, this is nothing but yes, I am explaining this. This is nothing but the pixel values. In the original image, we can see that here the pixel values are close to the means zero, and here from the half of the image, the pixel values will going on towards the 255. From then we can see that whatever the pixel values, what this function had done is that whatever the pixel values less than 125, it has set to 0, and whatever the pixel values which are greater than and equal to 127, it has set it to 255, and this is what this function had done here. So thresh binary inverse, I will make it this, and thresh binary underscore inverse. It is just the inverse of the thresh binary. Same, but it is inverse of the thresh binary. We'll run this. Yes, okay. Thresh one, thresh two is One minute. Yes, it should run. Yes. Thresh bin 2, it has done the reverse of this thresh binary. What it has done is whatever the pixel value is less than the 127, it has set to 255 and greater than it has set to 0. This is the inverse of the thresh binary. Next is truncate thresholding. Binary trunk. So this is again the thresh binary 3, thresh binary thresh trunk. It is this trunk. Thresh trunk, what it does is it whatever the pixel values these are to less than 127, it will keep it as it is, and whatever the pixel values greater than the 127, it will make that pixel values 127. This is the operation that the thresh trunk does. I think so 20 is there. Zero is there. Original image and 20. Yes. So this is the this is what the 20 type does. It makes the whatever the pixel value is less than 127 to 0 and keep the above pixel value threshold pixel values above the 127 greater than or equal to 127 as it is. And for the 20, it is just inverse of this. Yes. Thresh 2 inverse, yes. This is what the thresh 2 inverse does. It whatever the pixel values, it is just inverse of this. Pixel values less than 127 remain as it is. Greater than 127, it had make it 0. Yes, 0. So yes, this was all about the simple thresholding, and I had done this summarize that above simple thresholdings. And this is the, another example for the simple thresholding. Now I will move on to the adaptive thresholding. In simple terms, the adaptive thresholding is used for means where in the image where the light is less, varying illumination means where there is different lighting conditions. There, this adaptive thresholding is used. So what I will tell is that this adaptive thresh, there are two methods for the adaptive thresholding. First is thresh mean C and thresh Gaussian C. Basically, this thresh Gaussian C method, it is much means advanced mathematics is required. I think so. For the it requires the weighted Gaussian sum. Mean is simple. it actually calculates in adaptive thresholding. It is not that there is no global threshold is there. There is, for each of the region of the image, there is some threshold value, and based on that threshold value, the region will be given the particular values. For one region, if there is a pixel value as 50, then greater than and less than 50, it will assign the 0 and 255 pixel values for that. So this is the basically the function which is for the adaptive threshold. Input image maximum value. Input image is there, then maximum value is 255. Adaptive method is this adaptive method, and threshold type is the simple threshold type we want here. And block size, this will be more clear. Block size is nothing but a convolution operation. Block size is filtering out that pixels, means matrix in matrix format. That matrix is swept around that image, and this is what means block value is generally odd, means 3 by 3, or it is 5 by 5, 5 by 5, or it is 7 by 7. Like this, the matrix is formed, and for that particular pixel values, that threshold value is calculated, and constant C is it is this is what they subtract from whatever the operation, the value which I commit, subtract the constant C. That is what there. This is what there in the documentation part of the OpenCV. I will just move and let you know about this adaptive thresholding. I am taking this image, I think, for the adaptive thresholding. You can see that I think that everybody is able to see this image, but this image can be more clear when we perform adaptive thresholding on this. I will first perform the simple thresholding on this. Simple thresholding on this image, and you will get to know that what is uh, what is happening what happens when we use the simple technique, simple thresholding. So this is what the output of the simple thresholding. As you can see that the image is no longer, we are no longer able to see this image. What is the reason behind this is there are different lighting conditions in this part of the image. So the thresholding uh, is done, and this is what the result of the simple thresholding. So yeah, with the adaptive thresh mean, which any name adaptive thresholding mean, adaptive mean, and adaptive mean is equal to CV2 dot adaptive threshold. Threshold should come CV1, no CV2, adaptive threshold, and whatever the image we want to give image, and maximum value, I think so. Yes, maximum value adaptive method is CV2 dot adaptive mean C, and CV2 dot. We will use the threshold technique as thresh binary only here. You can use the other methods also, and the block size as I will give 11. This will be more clear to you when the CNN session will be taken. And yeah. So you can see that it is in the adaptive freshman, it is more clear. If you, yeah, this will be more clear when you increase the block, decrease the block size, I think. So, is there any question here? Mm, mm, okay, okay. So I hope that question. There are no questions. Hmm. Okay. So this was the adaptive thresh min, and same goes for the adaptive thresh Gaussian C. So yes, this is what the adaptive thresh Gaussian result, and this is the adaptive thresh mean result for this original image thresh Gaussian. Thresh Gaussian result, thresh mean result, and this is the original image. You can see that they are these numbers are more clear in the adaptive thresholding. So basically, the threshold adaptive thresholding is used only for the different lighting conditions when you are not able to see the image correctly. There are in some part, then this adaptive thresholding is used. OSU's thresholding is much. I think so. It is some other technique they use, that variance technique is used here. The foreground and background pixels are separated on the basis of the threshold value. What this OSU's threshold does is, uh, yeah, OSU's threshold does is it basically goes through all the pixel values from 0 to 255, and it selects every pixel values and calculates the between class variance within class variance. Between class variance classes are divided, that is class, if the let's say that the threshold value is to 50, then all the pixel values less than 50 are background, and greater than 50 are foreground. This is what does, so that we are able to catch the uh, object in that. Means whatever what I want to say is this, this boy, I hope that this boy is able is visible on the screen.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, uh, what the main reason behind this is that the background pixels, that is the curtains, and these are background pixels, and the boy, it is the foreground pixels. So this is what the OSUS is trying to do, means background, separating the background and the foreground pixels. And what it does is this method, it basically uh, takes for the what we want is that the pixel values here for within the class should be means it should not be dispersed. It should not be like that. The variance should be less in these pixel values for the two classes. So in the within class variance, what is done is the two classes. Let's say that this is an image. You will be better understanding it with this example image. So here, these are the let's say that this is the image. These are the pixel values. Total number of the pixel values are 9, and for each pixel there is one value assigned to it. And this is the histogram. I told you about the histogram. The histogram means this is the range of the pixel values 0 to 4. Maximum pixel values for minimum is 0, and the frequency of that pixel values for 0 this is 2, for 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, 4 and 4. So basically, in the between class variance gives a result, but within class variance is more preferred method. Yeah. So in the within class variance, what it does is, it let's say that we need to give here a threshold value, and we need to give here a threshold value, and based on that it calculates the within class variance, and within class variance should be minimum. Why it should be minimum? Because the pixel values should not be dispersed. It should for the foreground values they should not be dispersed. They should be not more spread. The data should not be spread. Pixel value should not be spread. And yeah, so the within class pixel values in the within class variance for the within it should be minimum. In the within class variance, the variance should be minimum. So whatever it takes up every pixel values on the based upon the pixel value threshold value we had given. It takes up all the pixel values as the threshold, and it calculates the within class variance, and it selects the minimum within class variance, and based on that whatever the threshold has been chosen for that pixel value, it will let's say 3 here 2 is the pixel value. So whatever the pixel values less than 2 will be the background, greater than 2 will be the foreground. So this is what the within class variance does. You can I will send one link. It will have details about this within class variance and between class variance. I will not go much deep into that now. So these it calculates the weights of the class as well as the variance, and this is the minimum value, and based on that it calculates the threshold value. Yeah. So and this is the within class between class variance. Between class variance, foreground class and the background class, they should be maximum. So yes, I will perform the Otsu's threshold. It will not give much. Means Otsu's threshold does not give much effect. I think so. Means I done, but it does not give much effect. Uh, it simply uses the threshold function only. The return value in the threshold. I will first make yeah, car image. Yes, car image. Will run. Yes, this is the car. It is converted to grayscale. Yeah. Now what I will do is I will do first global thresholding. That is this simple thresholding I will do on this image. Simple thresholding is done. So, yes, this is the simple thresholding image output. Next, it is now what for the this OSUS thresholding. Simple. This is simple. It is just OST OSUS simple threshold, and just you need to add plus sign here, and you will need to add this OSUS method here. OSUS. Yes, this OSUS. Origin and OSUS threshold. Simple. Yeah. Yeah, this is what the image. This is original image. This is the OSU's thresholding, and this is the simple thresholding. I hope that you are able to see these three images of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So yes, this was all about the OSU's thresholding. So yes, so yeah, the last part here is the template matching. Template matching is
Amit, sorry to interrupt, but please can you take an overview of thresholding and its types and what it is and like what where we can use it, its real-time application? Because many students are confused in that. So it will be really helpful for beginners who are new to the computer vision. So just take an overview of thresholding.
overview. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So yes, thresholding means here thresholding is used for object detection itself. Means object detection. Yeah, we can say that thresholding is used for object detection. It is basically used to get an analysis of the image. Whatever the means. Yeah, I will take an overview here. Means there are simply there are three techniques of the thresholding: simple thresholding, and yeah, there are three techniques of the thresholding, that is the simple thresholding, adaptive thresholding, and the OSU thresholding. So thresholding, yes, it is basically used to segment. It is method of the segmentation. It is a segmentation technique. So what in segmentation is that pixel values, whatever the pixel values are there, pixel values, yes, pixel values. Yeah. So pixel values, you can see that here this image tells that if this, let's say that this is the face of the image, then what you want to do as the background pixels here in the thresholding, you don't want that. You want only the face and this. So what you will do is that based on you will calculate a threshold, and based on these values you will make that value similar, so that you will be able to make that value similar so that you will be able to identify the face. Yeah, there was one image of the 8 that explains that. Means there is an 8 in the image and you want to calculate, you want to find that 8 in the image. What you will do is that you will uh, based upon the threshold values you will make find that 8 in that image. Means set that pixel values such that you will be able to find the 8 in that image, and this is what the thresholding is used for. Three techniques are there only, and nothing much for the thresholding. Yeah. Next is this template matching. Template. See, these are yeah, okay. I think I am fine with the thresholding. I think so. Yeah. Hmm, okay. I guess I will move on to template matching. Okay. I think Akshata, I think it's clear now. Yeah.
Yeah. You can continue.
Yeah. Okay. Thresholding. Ah, yes. Template matching. Template matching. Yeah. Uh, don't see the theory part as we don't like to read the theory much. So I had done it simply here. This image here says that what it says that if you want to find the this, I mean, this is the template. Yeah. So this is the template, and you want to find that template in that image. What you will do? Template matching is the technique which is used for doing this type of the matching. template means this is the template, this is the target image. You match this template in this target image, and now this template matching is means template matching. Will show you that template. Yes. Mm, I will open the. Yeah. And yeah. So I will be taking on this image for the template matching. What I will do is I will I will match this template, this image, and I will match this template in this image. Uh, yeah. So you can see that I have this original image here, and this is the where it is. Yeah, this is the template image. So this is the template image and this is the original image. Now I will tell you about how this operation is done. So yes, I have this template image as with me, and I have this template image with me. What now? These are some of the methods. Yeah, these are these TM as thresholding also have the thresholding type like thresh binary and thresh binary inverse thresh trunk adaptive thresholding, that all techniques. And here it template matching also has these techniques which calculates how there is a match there behind these functions. There is a pretty kind of maths behind these techniques which matches the what these techniques does is what this technique does is it will take the image and it will go on sliding on this image here, then it will here, and then it will go on sliding that image until here. Why here? Because the template matching method does what it does is that it will only match the top left corners of the image based on this whole region. It will match and then it will move on. It will match and it will do for all the pixel values of top left corner until here. So we will in the result part we will be remaining with the we will be remaining with this much only pixel values. What I'm trying to tell is that I will show you in the Jupyter notebook. So first you need to convert this original image. That is the original image is I think, but this is the original image I have here. And first it is necessary to convert these images to the grayscale image. So I will convert to grayscale. Grayscale original is equal to CV2 dot. I will do it with the help of the CVT color. Grayscale original image is converted to the BGR to gray, and I will prefer about the RGB format. So I will convert this image copy. I had in this cell I had read the original image, that is that snail image, and I had kept a copy of that image so that I will be able to draw a rectangle on that this copy of the image. So this copy of the image is it is originally in the form of BGR. So first I prefer RGB. RGB. So I will convert this RGB format, I will convert that BGR format to the RGB because I prefer to use the RGB format, not BGR format. So yes, I have done this here. Now I will load the template image. I will simply copy that image and copy this here, and this I will make it as template, and I will copy the template image here. Image name is template image. Template image JPG, and I'll show this image to you. Original template image and template. Template image is template. And, yeah. So this is the template image. I hope that this snail is visible to everyone. Yeah.
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Yeah. So this snail moving on to the to that. Is there any doubt? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is snail and this is the image, original image. What this snail will do is this will move on to this image and match that template. It will move on to that image and match that template. Match that template means it will match the this pixel value. It will match the pixel values of the top left corner, and it will the return match the pixel values for the top left corner, and it will return the pixel values based on the methods. And these methods means these are the values which are calculated with the formulas which are given in the OpenCV documentation. Yeah. So yes. What I will do is height and width. Height, height, comma, is equal to template. I will extract the height and the width of the image because for drawing the rectangle, I had told you in the beginning of the session that we need the height and width of the image, top left and the bottom right corner of the image, so that the function of the OpenCV, that is a CV2 dot rectangle, will be requires that top left and the bottom right corner pixels, so that it will be able to draw that rectangle on this original image that had copied here and converted it to the RGB format. Dot shape and one. So what it will do is it will give me height and width of the image. This is the height and this is the width of the image. So now for matching the template, there is one function that I will write here, that CV2 dot match template. It's template, I think. Yes, it's template, and you need to give here original image and grayscale image and the template. You need to give the grayscale image and the template. Grace. Oh, copy. Grayscale image and the yes, this template is also to be converted into the grayscale image. I had converted it here now. Now, yes, CV2 dot. There are the methods for template matching. It is CV2 dot temp underscore. So, yes, here. So these are the methods here. So there is means these values here. These methods here in these methods, square difference and the square difference norm requires the minimum location. This is because the maths behind this, I think, they will be giving the best result for the minimum values. And for this maths behind means there is a formula. You can see I had given this documentation here. You can see that and formulas there, and it will calculate the matching how much that pixel value is matched with the template value. So for the square difference and the square difference norm, square difference norm minimum values are taken, and the coef and the coef norm and the COR and this norm, this gives the best result for the maximum value. Now I will be using the norm method, coef norm method. Oh yes, this is the image which I had got after using the match template, and you can see that there is a bright spot there. This bright spot is nothing but matched point in that image. If there are lots of these names, then there will be the lots of the bright spots. But you have to code according to that for matching that bright spot. So I had only match. I am only matching only one scale. So there is bright spot. If you use the square difference and square difference norm method, you will be getting the dark spot there. So yes, the next method of now, how will you get the maximum and the maximum value location, that is the pixel values, which are in the form of x, y, x comma y, this format, pixel value location. So there is the function, that is the mean max log function, which will give you the mean max location. It returns the four values: mean value, max value, and then it returns mean location and max location. CV2 dot, this is mean max look. And what you need to pass here is the match that you got after the templating, matching the image. Yes, these are the values here. These two values are nothing but the values which are calculated from the TFC of TM seek of norm method. This is the minimum value. This is the maximum value. If you had used the square difference, then you will use this minimum value. But here it is the seek of norm, so you will use the maximum value for that. And what we need here is the maximum location here, maximum location. So this is the maximum location. Now what I will do is I will take the maximum location top left coordinates and the bottom right coordinates for drawing the for drawing the rectangle on that image, original image. So top left is max low, top left is max low, and bottom right will be, I guess the bottom right will be, this is the pixel value. This is the rectangle. This is the pixel value bottom top left, and what you will need here is top left plus the width, top left plus the right. So top left pixel values in x coordinate, y coordinate. Yes, now I will make the top left width and height of the top left template. Top left, I will print this top left image. This is data, so top left of 0, comma top left of 1. And this will be assigned to top left of 0 plus the height, and top left of this plus the width. This will be assigned to the bottom right. Height, yes. Okay, so I need to take the height first for this from the image. Height and width. Yes, I have taken the height and width here. So height and width. Right. So yes. So this is height and width of the image. Bottom right corner. Bottom right corner pixel values. And now I will be drawing the rectangle here. For rectangle, it is cv2 dot rectangle, and the image that you want to draw is RGB format image. It is RGB format. So I will specify RGB format, and the next is the, here you can see that the starting vertex, opposite vertex, color, and the thickness. Starting vertex is our top left, the tuple format, bottom right, and color is RGB, so we will give the red color. Red color, and the thickness is, let's say, 5 pixels, and show the image here and match uh, image, and here this is your fine, and then I see this, and yes, I think it will work. Yes, cv2 rectangle is there. Yes, so you can see that the it is blue. Okay, RGB, it should be converted to RGB. I prefer to use this RGB format converted to BGR. Let me see that 55 if it's it is blue now, and color underscore BGR to RGB is BGR to RGB is RGB is, it should work. RGB red should come there. Red should come there, but it is coming blue. Why? Let me guess. No. Yeah. Okay, I guess I had done something mistake. It is BGR. It should be in the BGR format. Anyways, okay. Anyways, it is detecting this image, basically this rectangle snail image. I guess it should come. Yeah, you can see that. I guess this is visible to you that red. It is showing red there.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. It should come there, but it is not coming. Okay. Yeah. I will look at BGR format, RGB format, and final match. Now it is, yeah. Okay, okay. Okay, yes. So yeah, this was all about the template matching, I guess. I will look into this RGB format because it was working one day before. Okay, so okay, Akshata, I am done here. So this was all about the template matching. Yeah. Okay, Akshata.
Okay. Guys, do you have any doubts up till now? Amit, there is one doubt by Harsh. How to
Yeah.
center the image in center of rectangle drawn?
Hmm. This is not you are means center the rectangle. This is not means you want to draw that rectangle. That means you need to have that snail in the exactly in the middle. This is not means going to be happen. Means it depends basically on the methods. What the methods calculate. Yeah. So basically this has been done by the method itself, and the this method has calculated whatever the pixel values are matched. Then according to that, this is the result is the. If you want to adjust that pixel, then you can make this top right and bottom left corner whatever the values had matched had came, then you can adjust these values, and you can have that rectangle have that snail in the middle of the rectangle itself. This is what we can do now, but whatever that the coordinates or the pixel values that had been given by the this method, based on that this result it is showing this result. This is what I can say about this at this time. Okay, Harsh. Okay.
Okay. So
Okay,
Naveen, you
now
can start with edge
yeah.
detection now. Yeah, Naveen, you can start. Hello, Naveen. You can
Yes,
start with edge detection. Yeah.
okay. So let us start with our next topic, that is edge detection. So before we start, let us see what is an edge. Edges are significant local change of intensity in an image. In this figure, we can say that this is an edge because the intensity of the color is changing from here to here. So we can say that this is an edge. So now we know that edges are significant local change of the intensity. So let us see what are the some reason that causes intensity to change. The first one is surface normal. So whenever there is change in surface normal, we can observe an edge there. Sorry. So here we can see there is an edge. Sorry, excuse me. Yes, here is an edge. This we can also observe an edge when there is a change in depth. So this is also an edge. Also, when there is change in surface color, we can clearly see this text water written on the bottle because the color of the text is different from the background color. Also, illumination change, changes the intensity and make edges. So let us start with our actual topic, that is edge detection. Edge detection is an image processing techniques for finding the boundaries of an image within images. It works by detecting discontinuities in intensity. So here I have pixel values of an image, and let us try to find the edges in this image. So we will start with the top left corner. So we will start with the top left corner and check the neighboring pixels. So here 12 is close to 10, so we can say that there shouldn't be any edge between these two values. But there is a huge difference between 12 and 90, so we can say that there should be an edge here. So we will draw an edge here. Again, there is a huge difference between this 90 and this 12, so we can say that there should be an edge here also. And there is no huge difference, but 90 is close to 89, so we can say that there is no edge here also. So similarly, we will check each and every pixel and draw wherever there is a huge difference. So we can see there is a huge difference between 12 and 88, and then 88 and 12 here also. And after complete process, we will get these values. So this is the edge we can get after checking each and every pixel value with the neighboring pixel values. So this is our actual image with edge marked over here. So there are many different edge detection techniques. So some of them are Sobel, Privet, Laplacian, and Canny edge detection. In this session, we will give more focus on Canny edge detection method. So Canny edge detector is an edge detection operator that uses a multi-stage algorithm to detect a wide range of edges in image. And it was developed by John F. Canny in 1986. So as we studied in the previous slide, that it is a multi-stage algorithm. So here are the different stages in Canny edge detector algorithm. The first one is noise reduction, then finding intensity gradient of the image, then non-maximum suppression, and finally hysteresis thresholding. We will look each and every point one by one. The first one is noise reduction. Again, there are many noise reduction methods, but in this session we will see average filter and Gaussian filter and how they work. So the idea of average filtering is simply to replace each pixel values in an image with the average value of its neighbor, including itself. For this, we use kernel which can be of any size 3 by 3, 5 by 5, 7 by 7, 9 by 9. And then we slide the kernel over the image, generally starting from the top left corner and moving the corner through all the position where the kernel fits entirely within the boundaries of the image. And each kernel position corresponds to a single output pixel, the value of which is calculated by multiplying together the kernel value and the underlying image pixel values of each of the cell and adding all these numbers together and taking average. So here I have pixel values, and let us try to apply average filter over it. So here I have 3 by 3 kernel, and each and every element in this kernel is 1. So we can apply average filtering. So we'll start with the top left corner. So we will first take this box and calculate average after multiplying each and every values with the kernel. So we will get, for this we will get 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0, 0, and the average will become 0, and the, so we will get 0 here. So again, for next, we will move the kernel in the right direction and find the average values of every pixel in this image, in this mask. So we will get 0 plus 0 plus 0 and plus 90. So the average will come out to be 10. Dividing by 9, we will get 10. So the average pixel values will be 10 here. So again, we will move the kernel in the right direction and we will calculate average. And this time we have 290, so we will get average 20. And similarly here 30. And we will complete this process from top left corner till right bottom corner, and we will get these values. That is 0, 10, 20, 30, 30, 30, 20, 10. And after, if we fill these values with black and white color with with changed intensity, we will get this image. Here is our actual image, and this is our image after applying average filter. So we can see that this is, there is a we can see that this 90, it has, it has removed this 90 from here, and it is has averaged out every pixel values. Gaussian filter is also similar to average filter, but the main difference between them is the kernel. It gives more weight at the center pixel and less weight to the neighboring pixel. We can see that this is 4, which is more than 2, and which is also less, and 1 is, 4 is greater than 2 and 1 is less than 2. So it give more weight at the center pixel and less to the neighboring. And the farther the neighbor, the smaller the weight. Gaussian filter is also called, is a case of weighted averaging. So we give different weight to different pixel values. And after solving this with every pixel, we will get these values. So again, after filling this with color, we'll get this. Here is our actual image, and this is after applying Gaussian filter. And here is a small comparison between average and Gaussian filter. So we can see that Gaussian filter is better in keeping more edge details than average filter. So the next step is finding intensity gradient of the image. And image gradient is a directional change in the intensity of an image, and it is defined as the measure of change in the image function fxy. Actually, image is a function of x and y different in x and y direction, as you know. So it is given by delta f by delta x and delta f by delta y. So here is an example. In first image, we can see that delta f by delta y is 0, because there is no change in from top to bottom in this direction, and there's only change in this direction only. So delta f by delta y, that is derivative in y direction, is 0 here. Similarly, in next image, delta f by delta y is delta f by delta x is 0, because there is no change in this direction. And in third image, we can, the gradient is delta f by delta x, because there is change in both direction. Also, one point we should note that gradient points in the direction of most rapid increasing intensity. So this here, this is that, this is in this direction, because gradient is increasing in this direction, here this direction, and here this direction in this third image. So direction of gradient can be given by this formula, that is tan inverse delta by delta x divided by delta y, and magnitude of gradient can be given by this formula. We can calculate using this formula. So let us differentiate an image from in x direction and y direction. So here is our original image, and here is our original image, and here is our derivative in x. We can see that it has detected this edge and this edge, but not edge present over here, because there is no change in this direction here for x derivative. So it doesn't detect it here in this x derivative. But also, if we see derivative of y, it has detected the top and the bottom edges, but not these edges, because there is no changes in this direction here at this point. So here is derivative of x on an image, that is zebra, and this is derivative in y, and this is magnitude of gradient. That is, after calculating magnitude of gradient at each and every pixel, we have replaced and we got this image. And this is the direction of gradient. For direction of gradient, we have drawn small arrows in the direction of gradient. And one thing we can note, that the direction of gradient is perpendicular to the direction of edge. So also let us see how noise affect gradient of an image. So from left to right, we are increasing the noise, and we can see in this image that we are not able to detect any edges in this image. That's why if we reduce noises in the image before finding gradient of the image. So third stage in Kenya's detection is non-maximum suppression. So it is a edge thinning technique. After applying Gaussian filter, after finding gradient, we get image with intensity. Excuse me. We get intensity, which is when we get a thick edges. So we apply non-maximum suppression for thinning these edges, and it is applied to find the location with the sharpest change in the intensity. So it is done by comparing the edge strength of the current pixel with the strength of pixel in the positive and negative direction of the gradient. And if the strength of the current pixel is largest compared to the other pixel in the mask with the same direction, we will preserve that edge, otherwise we will suppress it to 0. So next stage is hysteresis thresholding. Even after the image we get after non-maximum suppression contains lot of unwanted edges. So in this stage, we remove all unwanted edges. For this, we need two threshold values. The first one is min val and the second one is max val. So any edges with the intensity gradient more than the max val is sure to be an edge, and those who lies below the min val are sure to be non-edge. Those who lies between these two thresholds are classified edges or non-edges based on their connectivity with sure edges. If they are connected to sure edge pixel, they are considered to be a part of edge, otherwise they are discarded. So suppose this is our image. So everything above this Maxwell value is Maxwell is considered to be a sure edge. So this is a sure, we can say that this is a sure edge. And this is also a sure edge. And everything below this min value is discarded, so this will get discarded. And between max and min val, we check if the edge is connected with an edge that is a sure edge, we keep it, and if it is not connected to any edge that is a sure edge, it will get discarded. Any doubt? Derivative in dx. So what is 1 by 16 or 1 by 9? So the sum of each and every number present in this kernel is 9. So we divide by 9 to take average of every pixel. And similarly, the sum of every pixel values is in this kernel is 16. So we divide 1 by 8 by 16 to get average. So it is not detecting any edges in this direction. We can see in this figure, it is not detecting any edges here and here in derivative of x, and derivative in y, it is not detecting any edges here and here. And if we combined it both by calculating the magnitude, we will get both edges. So this, actually there is no edges in this direct in y direction, so it is delta f by delta y will be 0 here, because there is no change from top to bottom. And in similarly in this second image, there is no change in x direction if we go from here to here, so it will not detect any edges here or any great intensity direction. Is it okay? Yes. Okay, so let us move to code. Is it visible clearly?
Yes. Yes, yes.
So let us write in code to detect edges in a photo. So here I have photo. So we will try to detect edges in this photo. So we will import CV2, then we will read the image using cv2.imread. The first parameter is name of the file to be loaded. So we will write photo.jpg, and second parameter, we want to load our image in grayscale, so we will write here 0. So let us see this image first. First parameter is name of the window we want to display, so we will name it as scan image. Then the second is image to be shown, so we want to display the image. Then we will call cv2.wait key, and for infinite time and cv2 dot destroy all windows to destroy all windows after we complete. Actually, typo. Yes. So this is our grayscaled image. So we'll try to find edges here. So to detect edges using Canny image, it is very simple. We just have to call cv2.canny, and the first parameter is input image. So our input image is img. Then threshold value, as we studied in the last slide, we have to give two threshold values. So let us take threshold 7, 10 and 70 and show this image after detecting the edges. So this is what we get after detecting edges. So we can see that here, here we have there is a lot of noise even now. So we'll try to change the threshold values and check what we can do. So let makes it 100 and 200. So we can see that this is now a lot more clear than previous one. So we can try and check different threshold values to check which works better. Now let us try to detect edges from videos. So we can import, again we will have to import cv2 and we will start video capturing using cap variable. We can take any variable. So we will call cv2 and video capture, and I will, because I want to capture videos from my primary camera, I will put 0 here. So for infinite time I will capture. So I will read frame by frame, and it will read frames and it will store that frame into this img variable, and if the and it returns 1 if it returns, it gets this value that it is successful or not successful. So now after we will get colorful image from the camera, so we'll convert this image to grayscale using cv2.cvt color, and the first parameter is our input image. So our input image is img, and the color code we want to convert it from color bgr to gray. So we will use this, and then we will pass it to canny function. The first parameter is again the image we want, and then threshold values. Then we will display using it imshow. Name of the window and image. And we will do this for infinite time until and unless we press enter. For this, we will put in condition if cv2 dot wait key, and we will display each and every frame for 1 millisecond. So we'll put here 1. Otherwise, if we put 0 here, we will get black output. If it is 0, 13. We are putting here 13 because the key code for enter key is 13. We can put any number for key if you want to change the our exit button. So here I will put 13 because I want to close when I press enter key. So when I will press the enter key, it will stop capturing, and this will release capturing from the camera, and we will destroy all windows. So this is detecting live from my webcam, all the edges. So we can see they are still very noise. So we can try change thresholds value and detect how much we can do. So when I will press enter, it will get closed because I have put 13 here. So we can also change it like 100 and 150 and try to load it again. So it is clearer than previous one. So we can also put an track bar so we can change the threshold values live. So we'll try to put track bar in this here also. Actually, we can also can get edges from videos file. So for getting video file, all we have to do is add pass here address. So I will pass, and the format supported is AVI only. So the video should be in AVI format. So we'll pass it here, and we can see this. So now we'll try to add a track bar, which will using which we can change the threshold values live during the run. So for this again we will import CV2, and for this we will create a named window. What does named windows does is it create a name windows, and after in program we can put anything in that window. So it says the first parameter is window name, so we will say Kenny. So now we will get create a track bar for minimum value, and the first parameter is track bar name. So I am taking it as minval. The second parameter is window name. So it where it should get displayed. So we have created this Kenny window name. So we'll put this track bar in this window. So we'll put right Kenny here. The third parameter is values. So we want it from 0 to, let's say, 255. Again, we will create for Maxwell, name of the tag bar, window name, then value from 0 to 255. Also, there is a fifth parameter. Whenever we change the values using track bar, it calls that function, but we don't want to do any, we don't want to perform any functions, so we'll call a nothing function, and we will define it here, which does nothing. We will start capturing from our camera, and let's say I want to load this video file only. And while to infinite loop, we will read frame by frame. So converting the frame to grayscale. So img2 cv2 dot color to gray and passing edges equal to cv2 dot penny. First parameter is image. So image is our gray. Second parameter is threshold. So instead of passing raw numbers, we can make variables that was min val, and we will get values from track bar. So get track bar position, and the first parameter is track bar name. So our name of this track bar is min val. So we'll write here min val, and the second is from which window we are getting this. So our window is Canny. So again, we can create a variable for Maxwell. cv2 dot get track bar position from track bar Maxwell and from window Canny. And we can put these values. Actually, we have to define them between in while loop. We can get new values every time. We will pass min val and max val. Now we will show frames using ImShow, and we also want to show this in same window. So we have already created this Canny named window, so we will place this also in that window. So we will call Canny, and the image to be shown edge. And again the if condition to break. Cap dot release and cv2 dot destroy all windows. So here we can see that we have two track bar Minval and Maxwell, and it is set to 0 by default. So we can try changing this value and we can clearly see the output here. So we can try random values easily here. That's that's it. Any questions? No questions. So I am done with my content.
Navin, there is one question. What are the two parameters, 100 and 200? And do they go by X and Y?
So their threshold values that we studied in the last slide, that is this is Maxwell and Minwell. So that 170, that is 10 and 70. This 100 is the Maxwell and 10 is the 70 is the Maxwell and 10 is the Minwell. So everything above this 70 will be, we will take it as a sure edge, that it is an edge. and everything below that threshold, that is 10, we will discard them. And if it is between those threshold values, we will say, and then we will see that if it is connected with the sure edge, it will be preserved, otherwise that will be discarded. So that 100 or 200, that values are threshold held with, that is Maxwell and Maywell. Okay.
Hello. I hope that BGR and RGB doubt has been clear, because I had converted the image to the RGB format, not the rectangle. So, but the rectangle function only requires the BGR format. So, and yesterday I had put the green color as the 255. So that was the reason it was working yesterday, because the G remains in the middle. So it will not matter that 255 and 0. So that was the problem in that BGR to RGB. Yeah, Akshita, you can continue.
Yeah. Naveen, there is one more doubt, that how edge detection can help in image classification.
Which classification? Actually, I don't know. For satellite imagery, we can use edge detection for detecting edges and roots. It will become more easy to in edges. So we we know that most of the information is stored in the edges. So if we remove all extra noises, we can clearly see what are buildings, where are roads. We can see that in satellite imageries.
Yeah, I hope it clears now. So thank you, Naveen, and thank you, Amit, for such a great session. Thank you, everyone, for attending the session. I hope you found it useful.